الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank Almighty Allah who has made it easy for us to witness yet another Ramadan. We praise Him, we cherish Him, and we beseech His blessings and mercy on our Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his household, and all those that follow the right path until Yawm al-Qiyamah. My dear brothers and sisters and listeners at home, I want to greet us again by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our topic for discussion this time around is Welcoming Ramadan. As Muslims, we all know that Ramadan is an holy month, is the month of mercy, is the month of forgiveness, is the month in which Almighty Allah bring out the slave from hellfire. And without doubt, we all know that Ramadan is an honorable guest, that as Muslims, we need to get prepared for it. Just like when you are expecting a guest that is so important to you. You don't just leave your home unkept or leave everything scattered around. You need to arrange and rearrange and make available all that will make the stay of the guest a happy and honorable one. So, are we also expected as Muslims to prepare for Ramadan? When the Prophet ﷺ was talking about his followers, he said 6 months after Ramadan, they used to pray to Almighty Allah to accept the past Ramadan they have fasted, and the remaining 6 months or 5 months before the next Ramadan, they use it to prepare to welcome the next Ramadan. And that is why we deem it fit that we need to enlighten us and let us know what are those things that is expected for us as Muslims. When you talk about preparation for Ramadan, we should not wait until Ramadan comes before we start preparing for it. We need to start preparing for Ramadan starting from Rajab, which is the 7th month of Islamic lunar month, going through Shaban before eventually Ramadan comes. Because the Prophet ﷺ, whenever Rajab comes, we say we thank Almighty Allah who has made us to witness Rajab and Shaban, and we beseech Him to let us be able to witness Ramadan. So welcoming Ramadan, the first thing that we need to do is to refreshing our knowledge. We need to look for books, look for lectures, look for outings, look for information about Ramadan. There is no gainsaying that we know about Ramadan before. But as Almighty Allah says that فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ ذِكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, that we should actually remind, for reminder benefits the believers. So we need to read about Ramadan, about fasting. What are those things that make our Ramadan to be accepted? And what are those things that vitiate fasting? What are those things that you have to do in Ramadan that will make your work to be acceptable? What you have to do that will make all those things that you are expected to do to be as Almighty Allah prescribed it. So it is incumbent upon us as Muslims preparing to welcome Ramadan to increase our knowledge, to refreshing our knowledge, to seek for where we can get additional knowledge to what we have known before. Another one is that we should seek forgiveness and reconciliation. Before Ramadan, there is no gainsaying that we will have done one thing or the other for each other in terms of making mistake here and there. So because we are expected to enter into Ramadan with a very clean heart, with that brotherhood and sisterhood linkage between us and our fellow human being, so that when we enter Ramadan, we are going to enter with a very clean heart that will make our work to be acceptable. So we need to reconcile. If you have offended somebody, try to go to that person and seek for forgiveness. Seek for Allah's forgiveness, and if anybody has offended you, be magnanimous enough to overlook all that has been done, so that by the time Ramadan is coming, or when Ramadan has eventually come, you will have been in a state of purity without having any rancor or anything against anybody. Another thing is looking out for the new crescent of Ramadan. After you will have prepared your mind, prepare yourself, and looking forward to it, the next thing is start to calculate and looking out for the new crescent of Ramadan. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said you should start fasting when you see the crescent, and you stop fasting when you see the crescent of Shawwal. So we should not be among those people that will say we have met, and within our council this is when we are starting fasting. Islam does not encourage that. And we should believe if anybody says he has seen the crescent and we have seen witness, it does not matter where the crescent is actually seen. If the Muslims have agreed, or in the council that we have all agreed to form, if they announce, or our leaders have announced that this is the crescent has been seen or sighted, then we are all expected to start fasting. Nobody should say until I see it with my naked eyes, until our Jama or our society or our organization declared that we should start fasting. So another thing is that in preparing for Ramadan and for the unity of the Muslims to actually be respected, we must know that Ramadan starts with the sighting of the crescent. Then another thing that we must do is that as Muslims, we need to set up a sort of countdown in our homes. Ramadan remains 10 days. It remains 15 days. And you continuously scrutinize it every day, because this gives you the sense of urgency that you are expecting something very important, and it makes you to be more prepared for the welcoming of Ramadan. Another thing that is very incumbent upon us is that as Muslims, we must be physically prepared. There should be physical preparation, because you find out some people, it is only in Ramadan that they realize they have malaria fever. It's in Ramadan that they realize they are sick here and there. As conscious Muslims, we must make sure that starting from Rajab through Shaban, you must go for medical tests, medical checkup, know the state of your health. And if you have any ailment, take very good care of it in preparation for Ramadan. For one thing that we must know, and that is well known among the Muslims, is that fasting in the month of Ramadan is highly rewarding. And nobody should pray to miss it for any reason, if not within the range of what Almighty Allah has made to be an exemption. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, if you miss one fasting in Ramadan, even if you use the whole lot of your life to fast, you may not get the same reward as the one you will have gotten in Ramadan. And then that make it incumbent on us as Muslims that physically we must be prepared for Ramadan. We must look for those things, and if you have any sickness that is actually within us, we should try as much as possible, look for the right medication and know how and when to use it, so that it will not affect our Ramadan. Another one is economic preparation. In as much as in Ramadan we are not expected to eat too much, it's not a situation when we buy so many things and start showcasing it in Ramadan. But at the same time, we need to get whatever we want to use in Ramadan ready. Because by the time you have shopped before Ramadan, You have gotten most of the things that you actually needed. The time of the level of time that you use for shopping and going around in Ramadan will actually be reduced, and that will give you more time for your spiritual activities in Ramadan. So whatever you want to get, try as much as possible to economically prepare for it. Look for what you actually need that are necessities that will make your fasting and that of your children to be a very convenient and comfortable one, so that during Ramadan you will not have any cause to be running here and there, helter-skelter, looking for what to use for iftar or what to use for zahur. Another one is spiritual preparation. One thing is, he who fail to plan is actually planning to fail. Especially in Ramadan, you need to have your set of to-do and what are those things that you want to achieve spiritually. Ramadan is a spiritual month. It's the month of the Quran. It's the month of Ibadat. It's the month of Salawat. It's the month of Nawafil. It's the month of charity.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
So as Muslims, you need to have your preparation for it. How am I going to be observing my salawat? How many rakas of nawafil am I going to be offering every day? For this Ramadan, how many Quran am I going to finish? And it's not only knowing the number of Ramadan you are going to read for Ramadan. You must map out the way by which you are to achieve it. Because if you don't map out how to achieve it, you may end up not achieving the goal you have set for yourself. The same thing goes for fasting. If you have not made up your mind to fast, or you don't know what are the do's and don'ts of fasting, one may end up fasting and getting the reward of only thirst and hunger. And another thing is on the issue of sadaqah, giving charity. There are so many things that you can give out as charity in Ramadan. You can decide to feed a fasting Muslim. You can decide to give a fasting Muslim water. Maybe during iftar, you decide, I don't have anything than to just put water in my fridge and take it to the mosque when it's time for iftar, for people to get something to cool their fast. Another thing is that when you talk about spirituality, you talk about observing tahajjud, tarawih. Is an extra thing that if the mind is not prepared for it, especially with all the stress of fasting, all the stress of preparing iftar and zahur, especially for the women, you may end up not doing anything. So that is why you need to be spiritually prepared, and you must have your timetable. What to do, timetable, the time and specific thing that you want to do at that particular time. So these are very, very important, because in Islam, Ramadan is not only about fasting, but it's about getting closer to Allah, getting the mercy of Allah, and being ransomed from hellfire to paradise. Another thing that is very important is that when we talk about Ramadan, we should welcome it by greeting ourselves. When you see yourselves, greet yourselves. We are welcome, we are expecting the month of Ramadan, and so on and so forth. Another thing is that we must decorate our houses, decorate our mosques. Let everybody know that something special is about to happen in our area. Our streets can be decorated. We have flags, we have so many other decorating materials that we can use to decorate our schools, our offices, our cars, and even our compound. So that let people start asking questions, what is happening here? And that will be an opportunity for us to enlighten them. Another preparation is planning preparation. This planning preparation starts from individual planning. Okay, how am I going to organize myself? What are those things that I'm to do on a daily basis for me to achieve what I have to achieve in Ramadan. We have family planning. Within the family, we need to sit down together and we need to agree, okay, when are we having usra in our homes? When are we having tafsir in our homes? When are we actually doing Quranic explanation? A situation when the whole family will come together and we are going to maybe take a verse of the Quran in Ramadan, and everybody will now think about it and talk about what they actually know about it. Another thing is, how do we plan our house chores? Who does what among the children and the mothers, or the mother and the father at home? Then you have the community planning. Within our community, we have mosque. We have Muslims, fellow Muslims, brothers and sisters. We need to know within our mosque, what are we going to do? Are we planning for Ramadan lectures? How are we going to be rotating it among ourselves? Is it going to be every day? Is it going to be weekly? Is it going to be within the families, or we are going to combine the families together? All these are part of a preparation for Ramadan. Then when we talk about the Muslim community, we need to plan on, okay, what are those things that we want to put up for sighting the moon? And when the end of Ramadan comes, how are we going to actually circulate the information? Is it through the phone? Is it through the internet? Is it through our leadership? Is it through our mosque? All these are part of the planning that we need to do. Then another thing is, when we talk about preparing for Ramadan or welcoming Ramadan, we must be ready to sacrifice. We must be ready to put in a lot of things in order to make that month to be a very comfortable one for us and for those people that is going to fast. We need to enlighten people around, let them know that the month of Ramadan is around. It's not just an ordinary month, but it's the month of mercy and the month of honor that everybody needs to get prepared for. Another thing is that we need to prepare on the activities in the mosque. The tafsir that we are going to do for the month. Is there going to be any iftar sa'im in our different homes, in our community, or in the mosque? We need to organize. How are we going to actually fund this? If we should not wait until Ramadan comes until we do all this. Another thing is that we should also plan some charity endeavor to do during Ramadan. We can do it on family basis. That, okay, for this Ramadan, we are going to buy maybe this amount of dates, this amount of clothing material. Children in the motherless homes, they needed, we want to go there and give it to them during Ramadan. Or the old people's home, what are those things that they actually needed? The hospitals, because we know whatever we do during this month, we are going to get multiple reward. So we need to enlighten ourselves and we need to sensitize people that they should be more awake to the fact that they need to spend in the way of Allah. Then we need to read the Quran, make the Quran our friend even before Ramadan comes. Because whatever you do before Ramadan will be like a sort of a preamble that will prepare you for the main event, which is Ramadan. The more the Quran you are able to read before Ramadan, the more fluent you'll be during Ramadan. And not only reading the Arabic, create time to know the meaning of what you are reading. So get very good tafsir books. As you read, get the meaning, get the tafsir of what you are reading, and take it into practice. And enlighten others about what you are actually talking about. So all this is making us to get prepared towards Ramadan. Another thing is that as somebody welcoming Ramadan as Muslims, we must try as much as possible to get ourselves ready to help others. Be ready at any point in time to sacrifice your time, to sacrifice your wealth, and to be patient enough that nobody can push you to the wall, that you go to the extent of doing anything that will go against the law of Almighty Allah during the month of Ramadan. Create enough time for yourself to prepare yourself to be patient, to persevere, and to have that large heart to accept anything that anybody may do at any point in time, because Ramadan is a month that does not allow us to involve ourselves in so many things that ordinarily we will have done and just get away with it. So when we talk about welcoming Ramadan, as Muslims, we have a lot to do, and not only on ourselves, we need to do a lot on our family members. Our children are not left out. Our wives, our husbands, they need to be carried along. The same thing goes for our colleagues in the offices, our members who are selling with us in our shops, on our stores in the market, and the community generally. We need to create the awareness and let people be aware that actually Ramadan is coming and we need to get prepared. We need to make sure that during Ramadan, as Ramadan is coming, we reduce our activities that lead to this world, so that we have enough time to face the activities of Ramadan to gain maximally from that Ramadan. So without doubt, I think with these laid out points, we all know with what we had before is a refresher to what we have known, and I believe Almighty Allah will make it more understanding to us. Almighty Allah will make us among those people that are actually listening to us and take the best out of it at the end of the day. I pray may Almighty Allah make this Ramadan to be an honorable one for us, a rewarding one, and I pray it's not the last one that we are going to fast on heart. And all the act of ibadah that we involve ourselves in this Ramadan, may Almighty Allah accept it as an act of ibadah. Aqulu qawli hadha astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That is for Deen al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and Ra is for the month of Ramadan. Oh, Ramadan. That is for zakah, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need. Sa is for salamun alaykum, peace be with you, wa alaykum assalam.